The TORMEK method is a dramatic advance in edge tool sharpening. Everyone, including cabinet makers, wood turners, and wood carvers, can now sharpen and hone an edge more easily and quickly, with an accuracy previously not possible. The tools are guided in purpose-designed jigs for complete control of the shape and edge angle. The sharpening is water-cooled to prevent overheating, which ensures that your tool stays sharp longer. The large aluminum oxide super grind stone runs slowly at 90 RPM. The grain size is 220 grit. The TORMEK method is safe. At the low speed, you can fully control the grinding operation. No sparks are produced, so there is no risk to your eyes, and you can safely use the machine in your fire-sensitive workshop. Even complicated shapes such as fingernail turning gouges, spoon carving gouges, and oval skew chisels with a radiused edge are easily sharpened. You finish the sharpening process on the leather honing wheel, which lets you polish the edge to a razor sharpness with no need for bench stones. The sturdy universal support is adjustable in height and is the basis of the system. All the jigs work on this support. The outside of the super grind stone has a machined smooth surface for flattening the back of wood chisels and plane irons. The honing wheel is of genuine leather. The water trough can easily be removed for cleaning and emptying. As standard, the machine is supplied with this straight edge jig, honing compound, Pro Angle Master, and a detailed handbook, which describes the basics of edge tool sharpening and how to use the unique TORMEK system. As an optional extra, you can mount a horizontal base for grinding away from the edge. There's also an optional profiled leather honing wheel for the inside honing of gouges. This is mounted outside the standard leather honing wheel. Both the leather honing wheels should be impregnated with TORMEK honing compound, which polishes the edge to a mirror finish. We will now show how the unique TORMEK jigs work. This straight edge jig copes with plane irons, wood chisels, and spoke shave blades. Raising or lowering the universal support decides the edge angle. In this case, 25 degrees. Moving the tool across the stone evens out the grinding and stone wear. The universal support can be placed in the horizontal base for honing away from the edge. The burr is removed and the bevel is polished on the leather honing wheel. New tools have manufacturing grooves, which should be removed. This can be done on the smooth outside of the super grind stone. The final polishing is done on the leather honing wheel. There is no need for bench stones. You can go straight to work. This jig sharpens high-speed steel planer and jointer blades as well as miter guillotine blades. The edge angle is set with this screw. The grinding depth can be set to 1/10 of a millimeter or 1/4000th of an inch. Polish the edge on the leather honing wheel and remove the burr. Always hone away from the edge. Blades longer than 320 millimeters, or 12 inches, are ground in steps by relocating them in the blade holder. When grinding miter guillotine blades, you remove 1 or 2 of the screws. With this patented universal gouge jig, you can sharpen fingernail-shaped turning gouges, even those made of high wear-resistant steels, plus a wide range of carving gouges, and V-tools, straight or curved. You can choose the degree of fingernail shape by using the settings on the jig. At 0, you grind an almost straight-across profile. At 2, you get this shape. And at 5, you get longer side edges. By mounting the tool and setting the jig to the same specification as previously, you can exactly replicate the shape of the tool. Use the data which you noted previously on the recipe label. For this tool, you set the jig on 5. The protrusion is 65 millimeters, or 2.5 inches. Color the bevel with a marker to check where the grinding will take place. The same edge angle is achieved by adjusting the universal support. Now you can quickly sharpen to exactly the same shape as before, and you remove only a fraction of the steel. The jig also controls the honing. You hone the inside freehand on the profiled leather honing wheel. A real sharp tool should not tear out the end grain even on a square piece of softwood. This surface needs no sanding. You can easily grind off the heel of the bevel. Just unscrew the knob and allow the tool holder to move forwards. When grinding a gouge to a new shape for the first time, you need to press harder to remove the surplus steel. Grind one wing at a time. Finish with a full swing over the entire bevel. From a straight-across bevel, you can create this fingernail shape in about 7 minutes. This jig also gives you the perfect profile on spoon-shaped or curved carving gouges. The jig is set so that the plane of the edge is straight across the grindstone. It will now compensate for the curve of the shank. Marking the bevel will help you to check where the grinding will take place. The jig also gives you full control of the honing. The result is a perfectly honed and polished edge. A sharp tool should leave a clean cut without scratch marks. This jig also works well with carving V-tools. The jig is set so that the edges are straight across the grindstone. Keep the tool in the jig for the honing. You hone the inside on the profiled leather honing wheel. With a sharp tool, you can even lay grooves next to each other. Backbent and downbent gouges are also easily sharpened in this jig.
The unique multi-jig solves the problems of sharpening and honing skew chisels with either a rectangular or an oval section. You can also easily put a radius on the edge. The multi-jig also copes with parting tools and roughing gouges, as well as large carving gouges, carving chisels, and short wood chisels. The jig has two interchangeable seats: a close seat for turning skew chisels, and an open seat for the other tools. This is how you set the jig to match the existing skew angle of your chisel.
Now, color the bevel for an easier setting of the edge angle. Make this setting carefully, and you will reduce the sharpening time. Now it's time to sharpen. Notice that very little steel is removed from the tool. The jig can be set to grind to any skew angle from 0 up to 45 degrees. By repeating the same setting, you can achieve exactly the same edge shape every time. This skew chisel has a radiused edge. The recipe is protrusion 75 millimeters, or 3 inches, and jig setting 35 degrees. Now all is set, and it's time to sharpen. Because you remove such a small amount of steel, your costly tool will last much longer. Honing the bevel is a good investment in time, as the finer finish will make the tool cut more easily and leave a cleaner cut on the wood. A finer bevel surface also makes the tool stay sharp longer. For parting tools and roughing gouges, use the open seat. Adjusting the universal support sets the edge angle. The flange of the housing keeps the tool straight onto the stone. The open seat is also used for wide carving gouges and short wood chisels. You can mount short tools on the round neck. With the TORMEK tool rest, you can sharpen all types of turning scrapers and easily square the edge of cabinet scrapers. The bore has a patented wedge shape, which locks the position securely. You can also place the tool rest horizontally for grinding away from the edge. The Sherwin shear scraper is ground with the tool rest mounted like this. A cabinet scraper can be quickly squared on the side of the stone, using the tool rest in this position. Hone away the burr and then place the hook on the edge with a burnishing tool. When grinding scorps and inshaves, the rotation of the stone presses the tool toward the tool rest. With this jig, it is very easy to grind your axes. The height of the universal support decides the edge angle. Slide the jig so that the stone wears evenly. For an axe with a convex edge, you raise or lower the handle to follow the shape of the edge. Remove the burr and hone the edge so that it stays sharp longer. This patented jig is specially designed for knives. It also copes with carver's draw knives. It has an integral angle setting in the handle. After setting the universal support by eye, you make the final adjustment with the handle. The colored bevel confirms that the setting is right. Follow the shape of the edge. Lift the knife handle when grinding the tip. Having ground one side, then just turn the jig around and grind the other side. Hone away the burr and polish the bevel on the leather honing wheel. Your knife is now razor sharp. For knives with long and thin blades, you use the large knife jig, which stabilizes the blade. This jig is also suitable for portable electric planer blades. Scissors of various types can be sharpened in this patented jig. It comprises this holder and a support plate, which is mounted onto the universal support. The holder slides freely on the support plate, enabling you to follow the convex shape of the scissors. Do not hone the scissors. Instead, remove the small burr on a piece of wood. For long scissors and garden shears, you use both clamps. Small tools, which are too short to be ground with jigs, you rest on the universal support. Hollowing adzes are best sharpened along the edge. The honing wheel has a quick coupling, so it can be easily removed when grinding longer tools. With the TORMEK patented Pro Angle Master, you can set the jig so the tool is ground to exactly the edge you need. This method is especially useful for wood chisels and other wood carving tools, where it's very important that the edge angle is optimal for specific applications. An edge with a 20-degree angle cuts easily and works well in softwood. But it will not withstand the work in harder wood, where you might need 25 degrees or more on the edge. If you use a mallet, you might need a 30-degree edge angle to withstand the even tougher work. The Angle Master shows the exact edge angle on any grindstone with a diameter from 250 millimeters, or 10 inches, down to 150 millimeters, or 6 inches. You just set the compensator according to the diameter of the stone. The super grindstone grinds quickly. A plain iron with a deep notch can be reground in 30 seconds or less. With a stone grater, you can adjust the super grind stone to work like a finer 1000 grit stone. Press the fine side onto the stone for a few seconds. Sharpen again with the same setting of the jig, and the result is an extra fine finish. With the coarse side of the stone grater, you revert the grindstone to normal, fast grinding at 220 grit. A worn stone can be restored to a perfect shape using the stone truing tool, which has a cluster of diamonds. The cutting depth is controlled with a preset stop. You always have an even and true running grindstone. This film has given you an introduction to the unique TORMEK sharpening and honing system. In the handbook, written by Torgny Jansson, the system is fully explained. The numerous, detailed line drawings show you step by step how best to sharpen each type of tool. The book starts with the basics of grinding, sharpening, and honing. It explains the various grinding methods and gives you a general knowledge of sharpening and honing. There's a summary of the recommended grinding methods for your type of work, and a reference to the page with the instruction for each specific tool. This film has shown you a different way of edge tool sharpening, which might be new to you. Once you have started working with the unique TORMEK system, you will soon discover how easily you can put a perfect shape and sharpness on all your edge tools.